This is Jim Roberts. I'm host of Senior Living in Alexandria. We're here again with our monthly program that provides information not just for seniors, but for family, friends, caregivers, those who are involved with seniors, those who provide programs and assistance to seniors. Our goal is to provide best information we can for the senior population in Alexandria, Virginia. I'm very pleased to have with me a special guest. Shane Cochran is with me for this show, and he is with the City of Alexandria. He's the Division Chief of Program Implementation in the City's Office of Housing. He's the man to go to if you have any issues about housing in Alexandria. We're fortunate to have him, and good to have you here, Shane.
Thank you for
having me. To begin, let's tell me a little bit about your agency, the Office of Housing, and what it does, and then I'll ask you in a second how you wound up there. But tell us a little, give us an overview of the Office of Housing, please. What do you do?
Okay. The Office of Housing is an agency within the city which administers a range of housing programs for renters, homeowners. We have services for landlord-tenant, as well as what I administer, the program implementation programs, such as home rehabilitation and accessibility improvements. Mm-hmm. We are independent, or we are different from the city's housing authority, which is the Alexandria Housing and Redevelopment Authority, which administers and owns the public housing in the Section 8 or Housing Choice Voucher
And you
programs.
do everything else that's not public housing.
That's right.
In terms of Alexandria.
We administer some federal grants that are independent, and so our function is very different, but we work very cooperatively with this housing authority.
Okay. And program implementation is your job. What exactly? You design programs, you implement them, you evaluate them, you see if you can carry them forward or if they've got a life of their own and sustain. Is that the essence of it? Right.
Our charge is really to implement the programs that City Council has approved for funding each year. We do both direct administration. We have many partnerships as well with other agencies.
Oh, okay.
So it's really a range of programs, and as needs change, we try to be as nimble as possible to change our scope and adjust our services as city residents need.
Give me an overview, if you could, of the range of programs. You mentioned a few before, but can you run down a list so that our viewers would know what specific programs do you have?
Sure. One of the bread and butter programs that we offer is a home rehabilitation program, targeted to low-income city residents to help them maintain their homes. That has multiple benefits both to the homeowner as well as to the city and the neighborhoods and communities by preserving the city's housing stock and improving the appearance of communities throughout the city.
So you work on rehabilitation?
Right.
How about in terms of home ownership or programs for renters?
Right. We've had a long-standing home ownership program helping low-income residents who have difficulty saving for their down payment to purchase their first home. The city provides a loan to help them meet that down payment requirement. So we've helped over 700 people, I believe, in the history of the program. The program is somewhat limited at this point because of funding, but we are continuing to help, and I always encourage seniors to consider looking at buying a home because of rising rents. That's been a real challenge in recent years for many seniors.
How about programs for renters?
The city offers, the city's housing landlord-tenant Relations Division does a landlord-tenant mediation. We do not directly administer that in my division, but they take calls from both landlords and tenants on legal issues, maintenance, other issues, questions that may come up regarding renting in the city.
How do your clients find you? Do you promote yourselves? Is it an outreach program? Do you have marketing? Do you obviously you're on this program, but what sorts of things do you do to get the word out? Here's who we are and here's how we can help you.
We do quite a bit of outreach, both in the community as well as through other agencies. As I mentioned, some of our partnerships, we directly link to clients through those partner agencies. Many clients come to us through housing counseling services that they may have attended a class for first-time home buyers and find out that the city's offering purchase assistance. So that leads them to come to our door to find out what might be available.
Do you ever proactively identify neighborhoods of need or specific housing units of need and offer your services, having identified the problem, here's how we can help you with that problem? Or do you rely on them to come to you?
That's a very interesting question. One of our recent programs during the height of the foreclosure crisis back in 2009, we applied for a grant from the state for to work in neighborhoods that were profoundly affected by foreclosures, and we had to target certain neighborhoods that were most impacted. So yes, we did do some direct program administration throughout 3 different neighborhoods in the city.
Okay.
We worked with a nonprofit to acquire those foreclosed units, renovated them, and then resold them to low and moderate income home buyers. So
How did that work?
It was a great. We've had one of the most successful programs in the state. I think we were, in fact, one of the first to actually complete a cycle of buying, rehabbing, and then reselling a unit.
Is that program still in place, or is that expired?
It is. Fortunately, we've had such success that the state has named us as a high performer. So we're continuing to administer the program, though the foreclosure crisis has somewhat mitigated, so the opportunities for acquiring are more limited.
In a city like Alexandria, there's a number of higher cost houses and stable neighborhoods. Are you active in those neighborhoods, or is there a need for your services, or are you targeted more to separate areas of need?
Right. We can work in any neighborhood. We've especially had some seniors who had large houses that had deferred maintenance. So that was in one particular case. We have a home in Rosemont that's a fairly large Victorian that one might not think of as in need of repair, or in need particularly, but the homeowners were low-income seniors. They borrowed funds from the city to do a complete renovation of the property.
You must have to work, there's other nonprofits, for example, Rebuilding in Alexandria, and for example, AHA wants to have seniors stay in their homes. How do you work with counterpart organizations that might not be city agencies? Is there an experience with that?
We do. We work with both nonprofit agencies as well as for-profit developers. During for example, with the developer community, as when they're proposing new construction projects, our office might work with them to negotiate proffers. Say the developer will provide a certain number of units as affordable housing for the long term, up to 40 years in most cases. And then we also work with nonprofit agencies such as the one you mentioned, Rebuilding Together Alexandria. They're one of our key partners. The city provides annual funding to them to do home repairs at no cost, and that's something that we always encourage seniors to take advantage of. So
same question for, say, Habitat for Humanity.
Right.
I know it's difficult in Alexandria to find properties at a low enough price that Habitat can be effective, but certainly it would be within the orbit that you occupy.
That's right. We have worked with Habitat in the past. They have developed at least, I believe they have 7, 8 units in the city.
I think so.
And the city has actually worked with Habitat to adjust the real estate taxes to reflect the actual maximum resale price. So that benefits the owner in helping create a more sustainable and affordable homeownership cost.
Well, I want to thank you, Shane, for being here and providing a pile of information that's useful on housing. Don't go away, but we're going to our special treat. We're going to Chef Hans and Assistant Chef Mary Ann, and they're going to tell us once again something delicious and nutritious that's good to eat. So we'll be back.
I'm Mary Ann Beatty with Senior Services, and we're back at Inova Alexandria Hospital with Chef Hans, who is going to be cooking another yummy recipe for us today. Going to make for us a carrot and Brussels sprout salad?
Yep.
Okay.
Again, I'm all about simplicity. I'm all about having great fresh food and keeping it as simple as we possibly can. The priorities for me are always starting with the freshest produce we can, hence the local. Get it as fresh as you can, as fresh from the ground as you can, and then prepare it as simply and with as much love as you possibly can.
I think that works well for everybody, especially our seniors who don't want to have, you know, a complicated recipe. They want something they can make quickly that tastes good, that's good for them.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. This recipe is real simple because we've got fresh carrots, fresh Brussels sprouts. We simply sliced our carrots, peeled them and sliced them as nice and thin, and then we quartered the Brussels sprouts. And when we do the Brussels sprouts, we simply cut the ends off, cut them in half, and then quarter them, or you can leave them in halves also. Again, cooking as simple as you possibly can. What we do then is we toss them with a little bit of oil, just enough, just to give them a little bit of just to coat them very gently. Again, we're not trying to oil them up. We're just trying to give them a little bit of coat of oil, and then a pinch of salt. Again, that's a pinch, barely enough, just to give it a little bit of flavor. Now, what I like to do is just toss it together real quick. Just to make sure everything's light, evenly coated.
And Brussels sprouts are kind of a new, making a comeback, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
They are. And I think Brussels sprouts are one of those items, one of those fresh vegetables that's all about the green. It's all about the color contrast with fresh carrots.
Right.
Makes a great combination, especially when you combine it with the maple syrup and the balsamic vinegar. So what we do is we take them and we roast them in the oven. And you put them over here and pull them out of my oven. And we roast them until we just have a nice caramelization, a little bit of color on them.
So you roast them around 400 degrees?
Yep. 400 degrees for about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes.
Okay, all right.
People always ask me, cook it for how long?
Yeah.
And I always tell my wife, till it's done, honey. That doesn't work always so well. So when we put them in the oven, we want to put them in there just long enough to give them a nice little caramelization. So once we have them roasted, we're gonna want to make a little bit of dressing. Again, this is the simplest dressing in the world. I'm all about simple. I've got some wonderful maple syrup, and you can buy. We just use the local local syrup.
Right.
A little bit of balsamic vinegar, and you've got the wonderful sweet and the sour contrast. And I'm basically using a ratio here of 1 to 1. I have simply a quarter cup of balsamic vinegar and a quarter cup of maple syrup.
Okay.
To that, I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. Again, I'm just going to use like a quarter cup of olive oil in there. I've got a nice, simple little dressing. A pinch of salt. We already had a little bit of salt there, but just a little bit more salt to it. And then all I'm going to do is add the vegetables to that.
The bowl for you.
Thank you. Sweet maple syrup, little tart balsamic vinegar, touch of salt, and again, this can be a wonderful hot vegetable, or it can be a cold salad. So it's very versatile. You can serve it with any dish you like, any way you'd like to serve it.
Oh, that looks yummy. May I taste some?
You certainly can. You better taste it.
Goodness, yes. Well, let me get a spoon here. Here we go.
Just make sure we get a little bit of...
Yeah, a little bit of this dressing.
Yep.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Isn't that great?
Yes.
Maple syrup and the balsamic vinegar.
Yeah, the sweet and sour. It's really lovely.
Hi, we're back again with Dr. Dan Cochran, who is an orthopedic surgeon and also on the City of Alexandria's Commission on Aging. And more importantly, the inventor of robust walking. How are you today?
Fine, thank you.
Oh, good.
For feeling robust.
Yes, exactly. So today you're going to tell us just a little bit about robust walking and how you can get involved and kind of what it involves.
Ellie, robust walking is a way to stay robust as you get older. And robust means vigorous and healthy and strong. And the components of it include what we call be safe. And B stands for balance, S for strength, A for agility, F for flexibility, and E for endurance. And all of them are addressed in robust walking. And in robust walking, you a lot of times do dual tasks where you're walking and you weave in low-intensity calisthenics into the walk. And you use environmental props for exercise. That is, you can use benches, walls, poles, trees, and when I'm walking, robust walking with my dog, he also uses the fire hydrant. So as you're walking, you can do these different exercises, and you can also use, and I just happen to have one in my back pocket.
Of course you do.
The bicycle inner tube, and you can do what's called tubics. Now, I get these tubes from Pro Bicycle Shop on Duke Street, and the fellas there, when they get an old bicycle tube, they put them in a box for me, and I pick them up once a week. And when I get home, I cut out the valve and then wash the tube on the outside and then squirt water on the inside. And now we have a clean tube. And then you have a handy-dandy exercise device that costs 0 cents. And you can do things like put it under your foot and do your overhead press like that. And to make it tougher, especially in baseball season, we say you choke up. You choke up and push it up hard like that. And so you can use that anywhere. You can use it at home, on the road, and even in long distance travel. And the main feature of the robust walking is using your environment for exercise. And you'd be surprised how much you can do on a common bench or on a wall or against a tree. And then you can be totally fit.
Very good. So if someone wants to get one of these inner tubes, how do they go about that?
If you go to a bicycle shop and you tell the fellas that work there, the nicest guys in the world, you just say what you'd like to do. And the next time they get a bicycle tube, where they used to years ago, they used to patch tubes, but now they just toss out the tubes with punctures and replace them. And so they'll just put it aside for you and just bring it home and cut the valve out and do, as I mentioned, clean it, and you're good to go.
Very good, so not too hard. Well, thanks for speaking with us again today.
Pleasure.
We're happy to have you.
Yep, thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary Lee Anderson, Executive Director of Senior Services of Alexandria, and I'm here for our March Community Calendar. We have a few interesting things to tell you about this month. One of them is about all the wonderful programs that the Alexandria Library System has to offer. I know as a child I always enjoyed going to the library, and I still like going over there because they have so many different things to offer now. It's not just about books anymore. One of the really interesting programs that they offer is Tech Zoo Tuesday. Every Tuesday you can go over to the Beatley Central Library and bring along your iPad or your iPhone or your whatever electronic device that you're struggling with, and they will offer you one-on-one counseling about how to make it work for you. It's a free service and one that we all should be taking advantage of, because I know there's a lot more I could be doing with some of those fancy electronic devices. I never know quite what button to push, and they're there to help you. So you can check by calling them at 703-746-1702. They also have great book discussions every month. They have movie nights, and you can even take your grandchildren over there for some of the wonderful children's programs that they offer almost daily. So again, give them a call or go to their website, www.alexandria.lib.va.us, and you can check their schedule for every month. There's always something going on there. In March, Senior Services Speaker Series event is going to be focusing on how you can get your home in shape to make your life more easy. One of the things that we all have to worry about as we get older are the hazards that are in our very homes. And there's some very simple things that you can do, not all expensive, some very economical, that will make your home safer for you and allow you to age in place as long as it's possible. There's a program that's offered by AARP called Home Fit, and it's a terrific program that talks about modifying your home and gives you some really useful tips. So we're going to be having a Home Fit workshop run by AARP, and then we're also going to have some local experts coming in to talk about some of the things that are available to seniors in Alexandria that will help with financing for the modifications that you might need, and also some free services that are offered by other nonprofits in our city that can help you stay in your home longer and also to be safe there. On a completely different note, if you're an animal lover, like, well, I'm a cat person, and so I'm going to talk about something for cats. King Street Cats is looking for volunteers. They are a great nonprofit that helps cats find loving homes, and they need people to come in and help in the mornings and evenings to help feed the kitties and also to provide some counseling for people who are thinking about adopting cats. So if maybe you're not ready to have your cat in your house, but you'd like to see them more often, you can just stop by King Street Cats and give them a call for more information to find out about their volunteer programs. Their number is 703-231-7199. Finally, I want to recommend a little bit of exercise activity that might be fun for you to do this month before we get really into springtime. You can go over to the Mount Vernon Rec Center and square dance. I know my aunt loves square dancing and has done it all the way up until her 80s. She finds it's a great social activity and also a great way to keep fit. They have a professional caller that's there every week on Wednesdays from 1 to 3 o'clock, and it's only $5 for each session. So it's an inexpensive way to get yourself moving, and they welcome beginners and experienced dancers. You can call the rec department at 703-746-5414 to get more information. Hope you'll take advantage of some of these wonderful opportunities in our city during the month of March. Thanks.
I suspect your programs generally would relate to seniors. Is that the case? And then do you have specific programs, or how do you specifically work with seniors? Anything that comes up there?
None of the city's programs are in the Office of Housing are specifically limited to seniors. Any resident in the city can access those programs, but many of the applicants are older. As their physical needs change, we find that many seniors are applying for accessibility modifications, other types of changes to their home to make the home fit their needs better.
Do you have an example of where, where your office has been helping a senior or on a particular problem, that explain how that would work? One
particular sort of heart-wrenching example was a senior who had fallen and actually broken his neck. He was paralyzed from the neck down.
Okay.
He was in an assisted living facility and was having the family was having a very difficult time affording it. We were able to modify the home, bring him home. The wife was able to provide care in the house. So it was a real win for everyone involved to see that family could be reunited safely within their own home.
In doing that, did you have to draw upon the different programs that you administer, or is there a single program that might have addressed that need, or how did your office work to respond to that?
In that case, the city's home rehabilitation loan program provided funding. It's a 0% interest loan, and it's all deferred payment. Whenever the homeowner sells the property, the loan would simply be repaid at that time. The funds for that program are provided through the Community Development Block Grant, which is a federal housing program created back in the early 70s. And so it's been a long-standing financial resource for local governments.
So you can do inspections of conditions, you can provide financing, you can provide counseling. In other words, whatever it takes, you've got some resources or a program that might be the counterpart of that.
Right. I think seniors might be interested, and others might be interested in learning that we also have a team of architects who are independent architects working independently from the city, who will help seniors in designing home rehabilitation aspects of their home rehabilitation to meet their needs best.
How do people find out about your services? I mean, are these well known in Alexandria that we can do this with the Office of Housing, or are you kind of not as well known? How do you deal with that? Are you well known?
I think certainly word of mouth is one way we've had lots of interest in the programs. Many folks have come back to us to apply for assistance over several occurrences if their heating system goes out. They simply can't afford the $7,000 to $10,000 needed to replace the heating system. So they might come back to us for a loan in the future. We certainly get a lot of referrals through our partner agencies, as I said. If anyone would like to learn more about the programs, we'd encourage them to call the Office of Housing. Our number is 703-746-4990, and our website would also provide some basic information. That's alexandriava.gov/housing. So both are good ways to find out about what's currently being offered. Generally, we don't have a waiting list for these programs, so it's something that might surprise folks. Is that
do you have any programs of outreach where you might, I mean, obviously this is an information session, but do you do counterpart sorts of presentations to let people know what you do?
We do. We work regionally with our partners. One big initiative that the Office of Housing has participated in is our regional Northern Virginia Housing Expo, and that will be held in March of this year in Herndon. The city was the first to host the expo, and as our partnerships grew, we're now incorporating most of the Northern Virginia municipalities within that.
Would the attendees of that be homeowners or renters that need assistance, or would they be providers of assistance to those?
Most of the attendees are actually folks looking for services.
Oh, okay.
So it would be an opportunity. We like to think of it as a one-stop shop that you can go to find out about any resources that might be available throughout the region.
Well, that's very useful. I'm glad. I didn't know a lot about the Office of Housing. I knew vaguely what you did, so this is helpful to me and I think also to our viewers. So we're getting ready to close this month's program. Please notice that this is March, and Shane, our guest, and I both have on our green ties in celebration. So whether you're Irish or would like to be Irish, congratulations, and we'll see you next month.